Hello everyone, welcome to my tutorial. Today's tutorial I'm going to talk about the data access object pattern, or in short we call that the DAO pattern. So DAO pattern is a type of design pattern that is used to make an abstract layer separated data from business logic. It contains three components. The first component is an interface, and the interface defines all the methods. Then we have an implementation class for that interface, and the class tells that how we are going to perform our CRUD operation. And then we have the model classes, and the model classes are basically the replication of the objects or the tables that we are going to have in the database. So in that case, the model is or can be termed as the POJOs, or we call that the plain old Java objects. So let's now take an example. Let's consider that we are going to save a user transaction, and the transaction consists of total cost, items, and user details. Okay, so these are the three things that we are going to save in the database. And we already know that there are a few things over here. One is the business layer, and then we have a data layer. Now, if this is validated, if this transaction is good, then we are moving on to the DL, or data layer. Now the data layer is going to have one interface. So let's call it user transaction interface, and we are going to have another one which is going to say user transaction IMPL. So this is what? This is our interface, and this is our implementation class. So when the business layer is going to invoke the method, it's going to invoke this one. So let's say we have a method over here is named as save transaction, and then we have a parameter over here. So this interface is going to have what? This interface is going to have only the list of the methods. So we can have another method as update transaction and then the parameters. So now when we are calling the data layer, we are invoking this one, and this is how we are going to do. So let's say we are going to call that user transaction ut equals, this is an interface, so we have to have a concrete class. So we are going to say new user transaction IMPL. Okay, so you can see here that we have implemented, or we are invoking this implemented class. Now how we are going to do that, the next phase is going to be that ut dot save transaction, and then you put on the parameters. Okay, so this is how we are going to invoke the interface level. The good thing about this, that if you would like to implement it different ways, so let's say we have different options. One is the plain JDBC, one is called the Hibernate, and the other one is called the Spring JDBC. Okay, so there are many other methods, or there are many other ways to implement it. So these implementations are going to be defined over here. Okay, so that means the implementation class is actually telling that how we are going to implement it. But on the other hand, this interface doesn't know. Okay, so that means the business logic is invoking this one, and if we would like to move from JDBC to Spring JDBC implementation, we are going to just change this implementation class. So by that way, the business logic or business layer doesn't know that how we are implementing it. So this is what the case of the isolation, that we isolate the nature of the BL or the business layer and the nature of the DL or the data layer. And the data layer is going to have, again, interfaces like this one, and it's going to have one implementation class like this one. Okay, so that's all about DAO layer, and we are going to see more of these when we are going to do the actual project. Thank you.